Welcome, Karla. Thank you so much for joining us in my school community, our Rich Gal Goals, this month for our life audit that you're going to be leading for us. If you are new to the community, Karla has already spoken to us before and hopefully will be speaking to us again. She is also the author of this amazing book that is now on Amazon, Be One of Zero, Why the Obsessed Always Win. It's not just for entrepreneurs, it is for everyone. So check it out. And also, her website is foundersforge.pro. So, Karla, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, thank you for having me. I love coming into your community. I feel like it's full of people who are just always trying to improve and get a little bit better, and that's my kind of people. So, um, like she said, my name is Karla Murphy, and I'm a multi-business owner. I do executive coaching, so I like to work with in people's businesses with them and helping with leadership. But I also started with an e-commerce brand, so I like to do, scrappy things at home that can make you money and have a side hustle too. So if you need help with that, I'm your girl.
Yeah, if you go back into the classroom, into the Power Chat recordings, we did one on side hustles that hopefully some people can find some good gems in so they can apply in their life and their business. So today is really a hands-on workshop. So if at any point you need to take a minute, just pause the recording if you're watching this afterwards and catch up. But for everyone that wants to do this live, you have to come prepared with your brain dump of all the things you've got going on in your life with all your calendars. So that's your personal calendars, your family calendars, your spouse calendars, everything. And however you manage that calendar. Do you have a paper utensil? Do you do things online? Do you have your Google Calendar? Do you have multiple lists on pieces of paper everywhere? Pull it all together for this. So if you don't have that done, you definitely want to hit pause and gather all that before we get started. So I've already done this life audit with Karla and I thought it was amazing. So I wanted to share it with you guys and I'm just going to let her take it away.
Okie dokie. Thank you very much for the intro. All right, let me get my notes up. Here we go. So this is a done with me workshop, not a webinar. And so if you take advantage of this call and you work really hard, then you'll walk away with a clear list of what to do more of and what to cut out from your life. So you won't have any more guesswork about where your time and energy should be going in the rest of 2026. So welcome to your life audit. So this is for you if you feel lost about what to focus on in 2026, if you've ever wondered what to work on or prioritize in your life, or if you're constantly saying yes to things that drain you, then you are in the right room and you're ready for clarity on your true priorities and that you want to design a life that actually aligns with joy, fulfillment, and your goals instead of just reacting to everyone else's requests. So here's what you'll walk away with today. If you see me looking to the left, this is where I have the slides up. So I'm going to be referring over to the slides every once in a while. So what you want to walk away with today is a do more of list. So it's the activities, people, and commitments that bring you joy and energy, a not to do list of things to eliminate, delegate, or maybe minimize going forward, because sometimes we do have to do things that we don't really enjoy but have to get done, and a 2026 calendar strategy that's designed around your real life, not a perfect one. And three simple productivity principles that will help you protect your time and your boundaries. So by the time we're done, you'll know what goes on your calendar more often and what needs to come off of it. And I know she briefly covered, what you would need to grab, but before we dive in, we want to make sure that you have what you need. And so I left, let's see here. Let's see. Yep, I have a list up here. So you'll need your 2025 planner or your previous planner or however you track, what you did last year to have a calendar history. You just want to know, the things that you went to, the people that you interacted with, maybe appointments that you had so that you can refer back. You want your current planner or however you take your, calendar history, if it's digital, if it's on paper, if you just have a running notebook of the things that you get done, and also maybe your family's calendar. So if you have kids, maybe their school calendar, your spouse's schedule, any travel arrangements or commitments that you might have, and anything else, any events, parties, etc. And then, of course, something to, write with pens, highlighters, sticky notes, whatever works for you in your system. And then now would be a good time to go get those things, use the bathroom, whatever you need, get a drink, get a beverage, whatever you need to kind of sit down and actually do the work. Again, this is a workshop, not a webinar. So you're going to be doing the work live so that you can be done by the time we're done here. Okay, I see we got somebody in.
Hmm.
Okay. And let's see. I'll leave this up for a second in case, is it Kitoko? I'm sorry if I say your name wrong. Please correct me.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. Yes, it's Kitoko. Hi, how
Perfect.
are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing good, thank you. Sorry I'm a bit late. Got some stuff going on here.
That's okay. We just got started. So this is I figured I would leave this up for you. This is just what we need to grab before we begin. And so I was just
Okay.
saying, grab your past planner or your past calendar, your current calendar history, your current planner, or whatever you use. Maybe you just use a notebook or a notes app on your phone. Anything that you
Okay.
need to do planning for the day. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see here. Alrighty. So most people feel unfulfilled by their daily activities because either they're always saying yes to things, right, that they feel obligated to do, maybe not necessarily what they want to do, which means that they're saying no to what brings them joy or moves the needle in their life or in their business or in anything that's their personal work goals. And they never take the time to audit what's actually working and what's not working. They kind of just do the same thing over and over again. And that is basically what happens when your life doesn't have a clear no list and every request automatically becomes a yes. Because if we haven't pre-decided, we tend to default to saying yes to things. And so people stay stuck in a cycle where their calendar is full, but their life doesn't feel like it's truly theirs. It feels like it belongs to a lot of other people and other things and other commitments. And so that's what the life audit is, right? We're going to start with a life audit today. And many people feel like what they do in their day to day doesn't bring them joy. And they don't feel fulfilled by the activities, commitments, or even some of the people that are in their lives, but they don't make any changes. So they keep saying yes to what they feel compelled to say yes to, which means that they're saying no to everything else. And that's what we're going to do in a life audit. We're going to analyze the past to determine what can be removed or added to make the rest of the year more joyful and fulfilling. And so this is when you want to grab something to write on and something to write with. And at the top of the paper, create two columns like you see here with a positive and a negative as the headers. And so positive will be for peak positive emotions and negative will be for peak negative emotions. Don't think of little annoyances like, oh, I hate doing the laundry or I hate doing the dishes, but things that really, really trigger your stress, your anxiety, your dread, your resentment. That's what we're looking for. And then we're looking for the peak positive, things that you were like, well, I cannot believe I don't do this more often, or I just enjoyed that so much, or the happy tear moments, right? The things that you absolutely truly love and would love to do more of in a perfect world. That's what you want to throw into your positive. And so we're going to look back on the months. So you'll look back on your previous calendar year, anywhere from March to today of last year. And I just want you to write those down under positive and negative. And it's just going to be three things you're going to write down: either people, activities, or commitments that brought joy. Put those in the positive. And again, peak positive. And then your peak negative, you're going to write people, activities, and commitments that cause stress, panic, or dread. So just those three types, right? Those are the three categories that we want to list here. You might have 5 things, you might have 10 things, but just remember you want to write down only the peaks. And so I'll start a timer so we can work on that now. This is pretty much the brunt of the work. After these, 10 minutes or so, you might not even need that much time. That's what we're working on here. So I'll make this small so you can see the timer and the screen at the same time so you know what to write. Here's our timer. Can you guys see the timer and the slides?
Yes, I can see both.
Okay. And then again, peak positive and peak negative, go ahead and make your list now. So you're going to start with last year. You can either start in January, February, all the way to today, or you can start in March and just skim through and point out, oh, I went on that trip and it was awful. I'm going to write that trip down. That work trip was terrible. I don't want to do those again. and just keep going through your calendar. Oh, this holiday spent with this family member, man, I just never want to go back. And then all the positives, right? Hey, maybe this conference was amazing and I really enjoyed it and I loved the networking, or I loved going on vacation with my family and my kids. Those are the peak positive and negatives I want you to write down.
This is when the people pleasers get a little triggered because sometimes it's hard to recognize things as negative because you want to make everybody else happy. But if it's not making you happy, then that's all that matters.
Hashtag can't relate. So I'm glad you said something because
Yes, I know. You don't do anything you don't want to do, but a lot of us have that tendency. So it's a good
thank you
time
for
to
saying
highlight
that.
it.
Thanks for saying that. And if
Yeah.
anybody has any questions while you're going through it, let me know.
Yeah. So we have this 10 minutes. So you can write. And if you don't really have like a full last year's calendar, I know I didn't when I did it, you can think about what's coming up. You can think about what you already did, just January, February, March, this past 3 months. You can just, go by memory because I know I didn't have this going in. So it's a little bit harder to do the exercise if you don't have all of last year's, but just do the best you can. And the peak positives and peak negatives kind of stick out anyway. So they're pretty easy to remember.
If you guys are done early, just let me know so I can move forward. I'll give you the full time.
All right, we got one thumbs up. So wait a couple more minutes. All right, I think we can move on.
Okay. Let me pull this off. See, that wasn't too bad. That was the real work, right? Okay. So now we're going to go through that list that you made, and you're going to review top 20%, basically is what we're doing here. We're doing the top 20%. So you want to pull from that. Let's say you had 10 items, and you're going to pick the top two. Okay. And so that's what you're going to add to do more of to your calendar. Those are the peak positives, right? The things that made you super happy, that you absolutely want to do more of, that you kind of regret not doing more of in the first place. And that just becomes, the biggest difference in the rest of your year, because now you're doing things that give you more energy, help your relationships, help you progress, you feel better. You kind of get a bit of a break from your regular, day-to-day life and work. And so again, pick the top 20% from your positives list. And if you have your next calendar, right, your calendar for 2026, go ahead and schedule those now. Write them in. Say, I'm going to do more of whatever it is. Maybe it's, for me, Mine is like small little like day trips with my family. And we like to do day trips. Like maybe we'll just spend one overnight somewhere. And so that's on my list of things to do more of this year. And so we've already pretty much are doing that. And so that's something that I would write on the rest of the year, find a good spot and go ahead and block them into your calendar right now. And it doesn't mean you have to do it that time, but it's those reminders of like, oh, that's right. I did say I wanted to do more of that. And so future year will thank you for scheduling that in there. And these will be considered your non-negotiables. Let's see here. So I'll start just a short timer, like 5 minutes. You might not even need 5 minutes to get this started. But think of it as a non-negotiable, like you're keeping a promise to yourself to do things that you enjoy doing. And just give another thumbs up when you're done. So again, if you had 10 items, 20% of that would be 2, and you would just schedule those 2 things more frequently for the rest of the year. Okay, got 1 thumbs up. All right, awesome. You guys are quick. They would take me forever. All right. So now let's look at our peak negative list. Okay, so now we're eliminating the negatives and you create your not to-do list. So look at your negative column and again, circle like the top 20%, the worst 20%, right, of the offenders of your list. And for each one, I would like you to decide how you will say no, how you'll delegate it if it's something that you can delegate or give to someone else, or how you can minimize it moving forward. And this is a tough one. A lot of people struggle with the not to do list because some of the things that you don't want to do are things that you feel like you have to do. So if you want to talk about it, we can. But this becomes your not to do list. Okay. So keep this list somewhere visible on your phone, in your back of your planner, in a notebook, wherever you need to keep it so that when these requests come up, because they will, you remember the promise you made yourself today, where you said, I'm not going to do these things anymore, or I'm going to delegate them, or I'm going to minimize them, or I'm going to have a plan to say no. And so I will set a timer for you to write down your no list. Again, top 20%, because we can't say no to everything unless you can, and that's awesome. But I'll start just a quick timer. And if you need help with some of these, let us know. One thumbs up. Okay, there's a chat. How to take back your time. I've added to more meetings, but I feel like I don't have any time to do my actual work now. Can you explain more about your situation? If you can. So you've been added to more meetings. So now you feel like you can't do your actual work. Is this like in your job? Okay. More visible with outside stakeholders. Okay. So not really contributing anything. Is that something that you can just let them know? Because you can just say, by the way, because I'm taking up more time to do meetings, I'm having a difficult time being an individual contributor because all my time is being taken up with meetings. Is this something that you feel comfortable bringing up to your boss, or have you already done that? So I would start
Mm,
there, right? If you don't have the conversation, if someone doesn't know, right, they can't do anything. Otherwise, they'll just assume, and you never want to assume. So yeah, that sounds like it would be your first step. I actually
yeah.
talk about meetings as a whole chapter in my book about meetings.
Oh yeah, from the very beginning, we talked about Carla's book, but we'll wrap it up at the end. We'll talk about Carla's book. I had a couple thoughts about her meetings as well.
Okay.
It's like usually like they want you to be there, so you show up the first couple of times to make them happy, and then you can document how either you didn't take anything away or you didn't add anything to the meeting, and it's kind of like you did what they wanted, but you can see like this was the output of that, which was nothing. Or you can be like, hey, now I've got added to these three meetings, so I have this much time left on the calendar, so I have these many priorities. Which things do you want me to take off my plate or deprioritize so that I can attend these meetings for more visibility? And you let them decide.
Yeah, so either way, it starts with a discussion. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to talk to them first to see. Alrighty. Let me back to my thing. Okay, so now you have a clear not to do list, right? And most people never take the time to create that. So congratulations, you did good. You did good today. And now we're going to recap what you just did. So in a very short amount of time, you reviewed your last year honestly, not just like Vanessa said, people pleasing, but honestly, and what's like serving you in your life. You created a do more of list that truly brings you joy and fulfillment. And then you created a not to do list of the things that drain you, that needs to go or be delegated or even be minimized. And so this simple process that you can repeat every year when you make your schedule or quarterly or however often you audit your time, helps you to design a life that aligns with what brings you joy and fulfillment instead of letting your calendar default to only all your obligations. Because nobody wants to fast forward a year from now and realize they did nothing that made them happy or their family happy. And that brings us, to our tips. So let's talk about just a few productivity principles to protect your time and boundaries. So tip number one would be to plan for your worst day, right? You're going to have your work blocks and all these things that you have commitments to, but most people will design their schedules for their best day with the free time that they have. And what I mean by that is that you might plan your time for when nobody's sick or when you got a full 8 hours of sleep and when things don't mess up and life doesn't happen. Your motivation is like perfect and you're super motivated to do all the things you said you wanted to do and all the habits you wanted to have. But that version of your life doesn't happen every single day. And that's why a lot of people don't stick to their schedules or stick to their habits. So instead, when you're designing your free time, design it for your most realistic day or even your worst day. And that way you can, for example, overestimate how long things take so that you have a little bit of buffer time. Maybe you could add buffers between activities, right? So if you know that you have a meeting booked, maybe add 15 minutes to that meeting so that your calendar looks booked, but you can still get some breathing room. You can also leave space between meetings or events, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And so that keeps your schedule realistic. So when bad things do happen, or maybe things move over or, slide over in the schedule, you still have this buffer built in. And now you don't have to derail your entire day because something went overtime or something took less time. And that way you want to remember that, a realistic schedule will always be a perfect one that you abandon by Tuesday or Wednesday. And then we have tip number two, which is block your non-negotiables first, which is why we started with your do more of list, and how we just wanted to go ahead and just throw it into your planner now, right? Because if you never schedule it, then it won't happen. So book your routines, the things that you say that you want to do and the person that you want to be, book those. Book your deep work time in. Make that a non-negotiable. I can't take a meeting because I'm doing deep work during this time. Maybe it's your workouts. Maybe you have a health goal. Put those in first. Those are your non-negotiables. That, is directly related to who you say you want to be. And any planning time, family time, it goes for anything. These are just examples. So whatever is your non-negotiables and is on your do more of list, those are the things that support your life, your work, your goals, your happiness, the things that bring you joy. And everything else should fill around those. Work should fill around the things that you want to do every day. And so if you don't plan your days, others will. And it likely won't happen in a way that best serves you. which brings us to tip number 3, which is decide your no's in advance, because in the moment you will most likely default to saying yes to a lot of things. So if you pre-decide your boundaries, such as saying no to meetings before, 11 o'clock or whatever, pick a time, no to meetings before a certain hour or even after a certain hour, maybe no back-to-back calls without breaks. Maybe you're saying no to same day requests. Maybe you need 24 hours in advance or 48 hours in advance. But when requests come in to do these things, your decision is already made. And now you're just following your boundary instead of feeling guilty about things because you've already pre-decided that this is what I'm going to do when this comes up again. And now you have a plan. And that's how you protect your do more of list, and you keep the not to do list off your plate and off your calendar, or at least minimized or delegated, right? We talked about. And so here's what I would like you to do after this workshop, right? From your do more of list, add, 3 to 5 activities, commitments, or even the people tied directly into your 2026 calendar. So they're locked in. Lock this in because you've already said that you had peak positives from it. From your not to do list, keep it visible. Keep it somewhere where you can actually refer back to it. Like, what promise did I make to myself? I said I wasn't going to do this anymore, or minimize it, or I was going to delegate it. Keep it visible and actually reference it when a new request for these things comes in, or when you're tempted to slide back into your old pattern of saying yes to them. You've already, think about this day when you said, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. And you made a commitment and you wrote it down. And now you have clarity on what brings you joy and what needs to go. And your job is to protect that and protect your calendar and protect your boundaries. And that's it. You did it. It's so simple. If you do it for the full year and you have an actual calendar built out, it probably take you a lot longer. It could take me like an hour or two if I sit down and actually think about this for a while. But again, this is just to kind of get you used to how to do a life audit for yourself. You can rinse and repeat and do it every single year. You can do it on a smaller scale, maybe monthly or quarterly, depending on your workload. And I will open it up to any questions you have, but I just wanted to say thank you for being here and actually doing the work today. A lot of people will never pause long enough to look at their life this honestly, and you're very ahead of the game by just showing up today and even doing this small workshop. And if it gave you some clarity or helped you say, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore, or if it helped you protect what matters and you implement this and it works, it would mean a lot to me if you would take time to leave a review. And I also threw in my website there if you needed some further coaching, or if you wanted to check out where to get my book's on there too. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for spending the time with me today.
Yeah, I want to say that like when I said earlier, when I did my life audit, I didn't really have a good planner. I didn't really have anything that I was really keeping track. And I just wanted to share that I have Carla's planner, which she has her own Etsy shop, and her planner is amazing. It is one of the very few planners I've been able to actually stick to, and it's even 3 months into the year. Usually by January, I've abandoned my planner. So she has an amazing Etsy shop. And also, like we said, Carla's book is amazing, Be One of Zero. She normally works with entrepreneurs and business owners, but if you take this information and you apply it to your day-to-day life, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, or if you just work one full-time job, these tips and the ideas that she shares in the book are amazing. If you have teenage children or nieces or nephews in college, this book is also, it would be amazing for them to read. They would start out life so much better if they had some of the foundations that were shared in the book. I I loved it. I read it on vacation. So I hope you guys can at least check it out. It's on Amazon. Be One of Zero. And then this Power Chat is just one thing that I do in my community every single month. So all my community members get access to the monthly Power Chat. For the next quarter coming up, we're going to be doing one on women in IT. So if you've ever thought about transitioning into tech, I'm going to have a friend of mine that I've known for 20 years come speak. We're going to have another speaker talk a little bit about brain science. So kind of hooking on to the stuff that Karla teaches. And then Karla also just finished teaching a productivity workshop, which I kind of want to steal from her and kind of minimize it and shorten it just for our purposes. That was amazing. It would actually show you how to have all those details. So the next time that you do a life review, you will have the information to actually look at it, and it will give you that place to start versus maybe today you didn't have as much. So those are the things coming up for the next quarter. So hopefully you guys can join us for one of our next power chats. Unless anybody has any questions, I'm just going to give a pause for a couple seconds, and if not, we'll wrap it up. All right, so thank you so much, ladies, for joining. And oh, I got to thank you in the chat. Like another thank you in the chat. Yeah, when you actually sit down and do this work, it is super beneficial. So thank you guys for joining. If you have any friends or family that you think could benefit from it, I will be putting out the recording. I will also be posting it to my YouTube. And obviously, if you're in my community, you're going to have access to it. So thanks so much, ladies. Thank you so much, Karla. You're amazing. And everyone have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.